This is Romo Dunze, and you're listening to the Ballsville Podcast.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
And now, your host of the Ballsville Podcast, Scott Fitzgerald.
I'm a fire starter, terrific fire starter.
Welcome in, Ballsville gamers, to another episode of the Ballsville Podcast. I am your host, Scott Fitzgerald, a.k.a. Ludes for Sale on Sleeper, and this episode is brought to you by the Ballsville Games. Our games combine fantasy football and poker, which create big payouts with great odds. All right, welcome in to the Friday edition of our podcast. In the background, I will introduce you to my panel here, and in the back from Fresno, California, she goes by Sarah M21. She is our producer. What is up, Sarah? All right, gotta love that song. And my co-host from Viva Las Vegas, he is Bill's Mafia. He goes by S. Clem on Sleeper. He is Sean. What is up, Sean?
Not much. Happy to be here.
And our third person of the panel, he just had a long day of work, and he happened to pop in here. He's our Presidente. He is Alex Hernandez, Westlax. What is up, Alex?
What's up, guys? I'm drinking some liquid energy to stay awake. So, cheers.
There you go. Welcome in. It's always good to have the El Presidente in here. So,
hey, Scott, before we move forward, let's just verify that Sarah is not in Fresno. She is in Santa Cruz.
I'm in Fresno.
I always get you two mixed up. Either Fresno. From now on, I'm just going to say California. So
there you go.
California.
Say SoCal. SoCal. Always, it works for everything.
Right. I think I got that wrong twice. So 3 strikes and I'm out. So, before I get into anything, though, I want to talk about a certain individual that a couple days ago texted us and wanted us. He's a Ballsville gamer. His name's Jimbo Bimbo. He's a fellow Floridian in Florida. And a couple days ago, he messaged all of us and told us to send him some prayers. He was took the day off of work and was boarding up his house, and he lived right on the coast down there in Florida. And we wished him prayers and stuff. And I'm thinking, I feel bad for the people that live in that area, because Ken and I only live about 30 miles east of the spot that it hit. So this morning when I woke up, he sent a picture and from his window, and basically they lost everything, and his car was underwater, and it's a really tragic situation. So we want to send our prayers out to you, Jimbo. Hope all is well, and we know that you'll recover from this and you'll be stronger. So the Ballsville community
affected by the hurricane. I mean, that's a horrible situation in general for all of you guys, man.
Yep. So anyone who's affected, we have our wish and prayers sent to you guys. So anyways, in a hopefully a more exciting note, we're going to get into it's probably not so exciting as the injury report. So I'm just going to scroll through some.
And you moved from the hurricane to the injury report.
I know, it's just like one bad thing from another. So just to run through everything, Nico Collins says he's good to go. Jordan Love's limited. I would probably wait a week on Jordan Love unless you really, really have to get him in. Both Michael Myers and Devontae Adams are both out this weekend, so fire up Jacoby Myers. Jalen Warren's he'll be out this weekend. Addison's back. So the Jade Naylor shares, we'll see how that all gets worked out. Roma Dunze's cleared. Keenan Allen is still questionable. Camaro's back at practice. Let's see here. Deontay Johnson's listed as questionable. And trying to see if I have anything else that I missed.
You mentioned Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith, he is out. Concussion protocol. Trey McBride is out. Concussion protocol. Sorry, that's my dog.
She hates concussions. Can't blame her.
The Amazon report. The Amazon. delivery person. AJ Brown looks like he is probably going to be out. He was at practice, so at limited base, I would check back on Saturday. But it looks like another big week of Dallas Goedert and Saquon Barkley. Let's see here. Evan Ingram's considered he's doubtful for the weekend, and Njoku's out. So Malik.
Are we done yet? Jeez Louise.
No. I mean, this could go on probably for another hour with all these injuries. Malik Neighbors, after the concussion yesterday, they have like a mini bye with this 10 days off. So it's looking like he's going to be hopefully good for the next game, but just kind of monitor that. So I don't know. I'm going to go right to Sean and be like, Sean, injuries, Eagles, like, is it just wheels up Goddard and Saquon? I mean, is there anything else in this passing game that we're going to look for targets?
I mean, I guess it depends on the long shot of AJ Brown or not. But, if not, no AJ, like assuming no AJ, then where else are they going, right? I mean, Dotson has to do something. Not to say that he's going to be like this amazing player, but you got to give the guy 3 to 5 targets. Who else are you going to throw it to, right? So, I mean, maybe Calcaterra comes into play and they do a little too tight end love, but I think Barkley and Goddard are pretty much your only like solid fantasy plays at that point. I really don't see any other options. And I'm worried about Hurts too a little bit if that's the case.
Probably running a little more from Hurts, huh? We haven't really seen him running a whole lot. Maybe he'll run a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it's just when the defense knows you're depending on it. Is it going to be successful either way, right? Like, it's a scary situation.
I expect like more of a zone, an RPO kind of offense. Put the ball in Saquon's belly, either leave it there or take it yourself. Kind of
a
like
lot of early Hurts, like that's what they did with Hurts when he first came in the league, kind of. So if they can revert back to that at all, but I mean, also had decent enough guys on the outside to make that work. I don't know if this scenario allows for that.
I mean, hopefully it's just for one game that they have to deal with this. So if it's only one game, I'm sure they could probably piece it together for one game. It is against Tampa, which to me, I think that game could be a sneaky shootout. Tampa laid an egg last week at home. I don't expect them laying another egg at home. So I kind of like.
I think they'll come out with some fire and they'll be prepared, and the Eagles will have to keep up. And that's how they keep up is what's really going to make the difference in fantasy.
I like this game as a sneaky like game stack in DFS if you're looking at a sneaky game stack, that one. So, all right, Alex, I'm going to go over to you. Now, the Vikes get Addison back this week. So, Naylor, is he going – is he still – is Naylor still a flex play, or is it somebody that you're probably just moving, not really feel comfortable playing now that Addison's back?
I think I heard something that Naylor has like a touchdown a game. Is that true? Does he have 3 touchdowns already?
I know he has 2 the last 2 games. I can't remember.
Yeah, it very well could be. I'd have to. You're asking me to remember something within the last few weeks. That's not going to be. Easy.
Yeah, we know touchdowns aren't sticky; they're not predictable. I think he's been benefiting from the absence of Addison, and with Addison back, I really have a problem trusting him. I think they're going to try to highlight Aaron Jones. It's going to be his big revenge game, especially if Jordan Love's not 100% or if he's not even in the game. I don't know how much Malik Willis is going to hold up. And I could easily see, Minnesota Vikings defense taking over this game and Aaron Jones being the main contributor on offense. And I'm not trusting Naylor in any of my rosters. So,
got you. One more quick thing. So with Devontae Adams out, Michael Myers out, which Bowers was the lead guy there anyways. Are we investing anything into like Trey Tucker? It's possibly a guy to possibly pick up, maybe to slip in for.
I think you should have had Trey Tucker on your bench at some point anyway.
Is this the week to play? Is this the week to play him in the flex?
If you got him on your bench and you have like some injury issues because you just heard that like laundry list that we heard a few minutes ago from you, like I absolutely think that Trey Tucker is a guy you could throw into your lineup and just be, happy with him at least as your like last flex spot if you absolutely have to. I like Trey Tucker. I think he's a good player. I think the kid has got something to show. I might be a little biased. I did happen to meet him and everything here in town and whatnot. He's a really good dude. So, I'm slightly rooting for him as well. But I think he's showed me some things on the field that I really like. He's got that kind of twitchy, really good twitchy kind of Khalil Shakir-like kind of style to him. So, I think that's something that could play well for him long term.
I like it as a dynasty stash. I don't know how necessary he's going to. You guys see this being a high scoring game between it's the Raiders and Browns, right? Yeah, look like. Yeah. I don't know how high a scoring game that's.
By the way, guys, let's talk about the fact that JoJo's going to be in town for this game and here with his family to go to this game live.
Oh God, are you going to corrupt his family, Sean?
No, I'm gonna be a Uber ride from the airport, but I'm not gonna do anything else unless they want me to. I'll be there for a tailgate if they all want, but I'm not paying to go to a game that I'm not interested in seeing live.
Oh, geez.
Not the Raiders stadium. You crazy?
You want to go watch Deshaun Watson, the greatest?
Right? Yeah, Deshaun Watson versus Gardner Minshew. I'm not paying a few $100s for that experience. I'll go to Circuit.
How long do you think Gardner Minshew is going to be the starter there in Las Vegas?
What's that?
How long do you think Minshew is going to be the starter in Vegas?
I don't know. They're talking about this might be the game where this might be it. I mean, if he doesn't win this game,
it depends on how he plays, of course. But definitely this. If he comes out and plays bad this week, it's going to be tough. But if he comes out and plays decent this week with the fact that they're missing players and everything, I definitely think he'll give him at least one more week to make a real solid effort. As
far as fantasy is concerned, I have Minshew in maybe 2 leagues, and he's just been riding the pine, sitting on my bench, and it would just be pretty poetic to have him lose the starting position right when we start bye weeks.
Right. Exactly. I mean, if you do have Minshew and you're concerned at all, throw him out there for somebody, try to trade him away for a mid-level bench player that could help your depth, if it's really something that you're that concerned about. Because it's not like he's proven that he's deserving of the job or anything at this point. So, it could be in any weak scenario.
You have to find the AOC owner and hope he wants him.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's ideal, right? If he's got some depth at a position that you could use a little help with. I'm not trying to tell you to go out there and target some high-end player or anything, but try to help build some depth in a roster that you might run into injury, because you can tell that we've already had a lot this year. It's not going to stop. So just do whatever you can to be prepared, and if it means trading away a quarterback it might not start anyway, might as well do it and get at least something worthy. Let's see, what about Michael Wilson? Right, from Arizona, somebody like that,
perfect example.
Who's kind of in that level, right?
I would like to do that in Dynasty, especially try to get rid of Minshew, acquire a hopeful Trey Tucker. I might do that.
Right. I mean, in redraft right now, a Wan'Dale Robinson, he's getting plenty of targets in that offense. Not saying that offense is amazing, but player like that for a guy that you think isn't even going to be starting in 2 weeks, that's not going to hate. It's not going to be horrible for you at all. That guy that's going to be on the bench in 2 weeks is literally droppable by then.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Well, that's quite a bit of Trey Tucker talk, but all right.
That's my boy, man. You brought up a name. I want to reference.
That's the trigger name, Trey Tucker. All right.
Okay, let's talk in mind for future weeks, right? If he falls on his face, then I'll be eating crow once again. But if he doesn't, that's right. You heard it here first.
It's your team, Scott.
All right. Okay, we'll get into the Thursday night field goal fest, which was the Dallas Cowboys and New York Giants. This game, Cowboys prevailed 20-15. The Giants were in the red zone 5 times.
And why did they fail, Scott? Is it because why does Daniel Jones?
because he sucks at football.
Sucks at football. Exactly.
Yep, sucks at football. So, the Giants should have won this game. They
100%.
possession, 35 minutes, 5 red zones. I mean, if they just convert 2 of those red zone attempts into touchdowns.
If Daniel Jones actually throws the ball like a man and doesn't like lob it up there like a Sally boy, it's ridiculous that he had a wide open player, dude, and he had to literally stop on the field and wait for the ball. And it was so ridiculous, man. Like, I'm sorry. It frustrated the crap out of me, man. It was annoying because Dallas did not deserve to win that game. And Trevor was over here excited about it. No, Dallas does not deserve to win that game. I am sorry.
No, they don't. And on paper, Dallas or Daniel Jones looked fine, 29 to 40. I mean, 281 yards. He didn't throw a touchdown. He threw that pick, but it was just at the end of the game. So on paper, he looks good, but if you watch the game, he was terrible. Throwing off his back foot, like Sean said, short arming the ball, just didn't really look like he had command of the offense. A lot of his passes were short to the line of scrimmage. Anything over 20 yards, he was so inaccurate. It was so bad. But to go to the Dallas side, I mean, the Dallas Cowboy fans, you guys can be all excited that you won this game, but you know what? Your team's a disaster too. You can't run the ball at all. You basically only throwing to one guy, which is CeeDee Lamb. So
I mean, Rico looked okay. I'm not gonna hate on Rico too much. He looked okay.
Definitely the best asset. He's their best rusher, dude. I don't know why they keep giving opportunities to oatmeal pants.
Yeah, you can't be giving the opportunities to oatmeal pants, but I
mean that touchdown that he made, I did not think he was going to score that touchdown. It looked like that was blocked up just fine, and then
except for the block in the back that the refs blew, that should have been a penalty, along with a face mask that was earlier in the game. That blew.
How do you call a face mask on the wrong team?
On the wrong guy.
I mean, literally the opposite dude that pulled that's the guy who got face mask, dude. How do they not argue that more? By the way, if that's me. If I'm that guy that got my face ripped to the ground and then they called me for the face mask, I am in that ref's face to the point where I might get a flag myself, dude. I am so pissed.
All I know is probably 50 years from now, when we're not around anymore, there won't be any referees anymore. I think it'd be electronically. They'll just call them throwing. They'll just be calling penalties.
Dude, honestly, as it should be. Honestly, the way our camera ability is nowadays, dude. Every camera angle, we don't need a ref. There could be a guy on the sideline, but he's just waiting for the camera to tell him what the fuck happened. That's basically the way it's going to end up, in my opinion. There's got to be somebody, but it'll be somebody being told this is the outcome. The ball will have a fucking chip in it that'll tell it exactly where it hit the ground and all that crap.
Surprised we don't have that already.
Yeah, I mean, how does tennis do what they do and football can't do better?
Well, we have it with the first down marker. Now, the first down marker, those guys aren't running around with the chains anymore like last time, just getting in the way. So they got the cameras now for first down markers. So it's heading that way. I mean, I don't know if we'll be around when that happens, but it's going to happen eventually. It's just
man. Hey, come on now, dude. We literally went from Zach Morris cell phones to little computers in our hand in half our lifetime. By the time we're dead, I'd be shocked if they don't have something better going on as far as that's concerned.
All right, well, let's get into some statistics real quick. So
make it sound like you're that old.
CeeDee Lamb had his 8 targets, 7 for 98. Very nice touchdown run on the when he got the ball in his hands. Jake Ferguson caught all 7 of his targets for 7. Caught all 7 of his targets for 49 yards.
You think he's a viable tight end now?
Oh yeah, as long as he's there. I mean, who else are they going to throw the ball to? I mean, they're really nobody else. I mean, Cook's got 4 targets. He only caught 1, but in this offense, it's Lamb and Ferguson. I mean. He's legitimate tight end 1, especially the way the landscape is now this year. It's awesome.
That's what I was gonna say. Based on tight ends, where does he fall in tight end 1? He might be closer to the top if he's getting 7 to 10 targets a game on a regular basis.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. So, but on the Giants side of the ball, I mean, they were supposed to be able to run this game. The Cowboys were one of the worst run defenses in the league after 3 weeks. So. For them not being able to run the ball was a complete disaster. They went the opposite and gave, 14 targets to Wan'Dale Robinson, who, in my opinion, is probably just a mirage after this week. But I mean, we got to talk about the big dog.
This one week with Wan'Dale. This is the second week now out of 3 that Wan'Dale's had over double-digit targets.
Yeah, I still think it's I don't know. I still don't trust them. But what I really want to talk about is the big dog, and that's Malik Neighbors, and I have something to say about him. But I'm going to go to Alex, and Alex, I mean, you got Neighbors getting 15 targets, caught 12, 115 yards. I mean, this guy's just a complete stud.
And he looked good doing it. I mean, so I was at a little company dinner last night, so I missed like the first quarter and a half. But well, a couple of things I saw because I had Dowdle starting somewhere, and I saw he had
by the way. He is our Troy Polamalu, always working.
Yeah. Hey, and he's one of my favorite players too, so maybe that's why. I just don't have the hair. But no, what I did catch, I mean, the dude's out there, Neighbors is out there looking like a stud, man, a bona fide alpha. I just, one of the trades that went down in Dynasty last night before the game was just Neighbors for CD Lamb straight up, and I'd still rather have Lamb. But that his, oh, really? Is that one of them?
That's one of our trades, yeah. We were going to brag on Corner.
Yeah, dude, but I mean, just gives you a point of emphasis of where his value is right now. We have people online taking victory sips because they called Neighbors over Marvin Harrison Jr. And you really can't blame him. If you wanted to, you could call it. I mean, I
wouldn't say he's over MHJ yet.
You're talking about Malik Neighbors has had 3 games of excellence. I mean, from the moment he came out, he was sprinting. We had. Marvin had a great game and maybe a decent game
for a regression-ish, right? He's not an offense that's going to carry him that far, that long.
Well, the thing is, he says he's fine, but once you get that first concussion and stuff, they try to dial you back, I think, and maybe, you start approaching the game, a little more tentatively. So we'll see how that impacts his gameplay. But, I mean, the dude's not afraid of anything. He's pretty fearless out there. And it translates.
Don't get me wrong. That fool is a beast.
Yeah, definitely. Like Zubicus says, he's got the dog, the dog in him.
He's definitely worth like 3.2.
So in that snooze fest with all those flags flying, I mean, there was a play where there was like 4 or 5 flags, like they emptied it out. I think
the game was having to buy flags on Amazon or something during the broadcast. Like, it's ridiculous.
It was pretty tedious to watch, but every time you saw Malik Neighbors grabbing a ball, I mean, it was always phenomenal. So it's going to be a fun show for the next few years.
So do you have him over MHJ for the season? Redraft right now?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, with Trey McBride being out for this week, we'll see what Marvin Harrison can do when he has all the defense's attention. And I think Daniel Jones just has nowhere else to go, man. I mean, he's just chucking that ball over to Neighbors. I mean, you see Wan'Dale Robinson's got 11 for 71. What's that going to do for you? That guy can't break a tackle to save his life. I mean,
no. Yeah. How many tackles did he get tackled short of the first down by like a yard? I want to see.
Yeah, I wonder how many broken tackles he had last night, if he had any. So it's
the guy can get open. Don't get me wrong. He is a quick, twitchy dude that gets open, man. But he is like, you touch the man with your pinky finger and he falls over.
Yeah, and I think the Giants are going to be playing catch up, every game this year. So I see a path for Neighbors just to get peppered all year long.
Yep. Okay, so my take on Neighbors is, and I talked to Sean earlier about this before I think you got in, Alex, is this production sustainable for the rest of the year? I think it is. I don't think it is. I think he's a 20-year-old young man who's going to get beat up. He's going to hit the rookie wall. The Giants have no one else to protect him. On the other side, you can say it's Wan'Dale Robinson, but I really don't think it's going to be. I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson's a small guy too, so he's not, a big imposing force on the other side. There's no tight end there. They don't have a running game. So will this guy stay healthy the rest of the year? He's already concussed.
Yeah, that's a big question.
My opinion is, if he comes back, too bad he couldn't do this. Too bad he got a concussion, because if he didn't get a concussion, you could turn around and right now he is the number 1 receiver in the National Football League. You could turn around in a redraft and you could flip this guy if you were dying at running back and probably go get a Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
A Kyron Williams. So, Alex, in a vacuum for the rest of the year, if Neighbors comes back healthy and let's just say the next game he has another 12 targets and catches 11 for 100 yards and a touchdown, would you rather have Neighbors or Jonathan Taylor the rest of the year?
I'd rather have Neighbors over Taylor, but I'd rather have Saquon over Neighbors just because of the scarcity of their RB position. And I think what Saquon's doing and how they're relying on him, I think he trends to be the RB1.
You don't think injuries to the receivers make a difference with Saquon?
Yeah, totally. But if you live in fear of that, if you're still trying to get that wide receiver security the whole time, that it's not going to cut it, especially not in our big game format. You've got to have that stud RB production because it's going to separate you from the bunch.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about Neighbors. Does he compare to, Marvin Harrison, Lamb, JJ, Chase, what he's doing now? Like,
absolutely, he does.
Just out there.
Yeah, I think he's in that top tier, right? Like, so in my opinion, this year, the top tier has now grown by 2 receivers. You've got JJ, you got CD, Tyreek, these 2, and you could even drop Tyreek maybe out of the top 5 and put him at 6 now based on his scenario. So, I definitely think that those 2 guys both are they're like a 1A, 1B right now, and you could argue them over any receiver in the league almost, especially in Dynasty.
So,
good point.
So Dynasty startup. Do you guys have Neighbors or Harrison?
I think I still take Harrison. Only because of the I feel like that team is in a better place for the next. I always look at Dynasty in a 3 to 5 year window, and I feel like that team is in a better place. I could change my mind if the Giants have an amazing draft this year, whatever. Like by 2025, it's looking different. But right now, the way the Giants are built, I take Marvin Harrison.
Okay, are they number 4 and 5? If you were to go like Lamb, JJ, Chase, would your 4-5 be Harrison, Neighbors, or Neighbors, Harrison?
Well, I'd still put Amon-Ra up there.
Ahead of both of them?
Yeah, I'd still put him ahead of both of them just because he has a longer track record of doing what he does. As far as who's in front, I'd still go Marvin Harrison. I think the Giants have such a bad organization, and you don't know what's going to happen at the quarterback position. If Daniel Jones gets hurt, what are they going to do? I think Kyler Murray is a better quarterback, and he's more aware, and they have a better team. They're going to stay competitive longer throughout the season. I think at some point, if
right now, like they have a better coach too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think just as an organization is going to be the tiebreaker for Arizona, and I would take Marvin Harrison there. But they would definitely be 5 and 6.
Yeah, right in there. And like I would make the argument Harrison is over Amon-Ra, to be honest, just because of the emergence of Jameson, Laporta. That offense doesn't seem to be like dire straits, like leaning on Amon-Ra. I think plus I might be a little size biased here, but I just think Marvin Harrison has that freakish ability, where, Amon-Ra is a hardworking, like solid, amazing player.
The better reason to put them over Amon-Ra, and which, I haven't given it much thought, and I might put them over Amon-Ra, is because the Lions, their run game is just phenomenal. I mean, they have 2 freaking top tier running backs that they can just count on, and how often are you see what Goff's doing. He's underperforming. So if he continues that trend and they just keep running the ball to win games, they're not going to need St. Brown.
And I do like Goff kind of feels like a Kirk Cousins-y type of like ceiling quarterback. Like you're never going to get that like just amazing quarterback out of Goff. Like never going to be that top 5 quarterback, right? Like you might get that out of Murray from time to time, like a season here or there with the right setup. I just don't see that out of Goff, because like Goff doesn't make those amazing plays when they need to be made.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
Got you. All right. Well, before that wraps up the Thursday night game. A lot of Neighbors talk. So we will we're gonna get into the Ballsville high stakes redraft leagues, and before we get into them, I just want to have you guys look at the ticker at the bottom. That's the ballsvillegames.com. That's our new website. We work really hard on it. Please get on there and check it out. We're updating it all the time with the tools and the standings of our leagues and everything. So please check that out. We really put a lot of time.
Scott, who's based on your rankings? Who's the number one running back this week?
The number one running back this week. You're going right to the tools section, huh? So in the tools, if you look at my,
I mean, why not? Right, they're there. Let's use them, baby.
Yeah, the number one running back matchup of the week is. It would have been the New York Giants, Devin Singletary, which should have been and he basically gave you nothing.
He did.
So,
that was not your fault, Scott. That was a great matchup that should have worked out well, and it did not.
It was Brian Dable's fault. Blame it all on him.
Right?
Yep.
Well,
exactly.
you could also blame it on Daniel Jones tui, but we won't go there.
And also like and subscribe to the podcast. We really appreciate it. Like I said, we work hard on these podcasts also, so please do that. So we're going to move on, like I said, to the high stakes league. It's the high stakes redraft. This was $100 buy-in, and Sean and I run these leagues. And what I usually do is on the website, if you go to it, theballsville.com, and go to the scoreboard section and scroll down to the high stakes platinum eyeball, you'll see that I'll have I have posted the top 10 league leaders for week 3, along with all 10 leagues and the top 6 overall spots in each league. All these icons are clickable. You can click on them and check them out. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I put some time into this. So yeah, you want to check that out. So we'll go over this. Can you bring up the first one, the league leader box, top 10?
This one here?
Yep, that one. So this one's the top 10 league leaders for week 3. I have the team name, what league they're in, their score as far as points, and their record. And then for the top overall player, which is Cash 3 in the Sinister League, number 9, he has 528 points, which is also the number 1 points for after week 3 out of all 10 leagues. He's 3-0, and that's his starting lineup. So you could see that he probably it looks like he probably picked in the back end of the first round to get Taylor and Barkley.
No, he had Allen, right?
Oh, he did have Allen, so he must have made a trade. So yeah, so he must have made a trade for either Taylor or Barkley. I have to go back and look. So that's the only way you're going to get those 3 players. So that's a pretty good core right there. And then he's got obviously the Malik Neighbors, who we just talked about. So he's got the number 1 receiver in the league right now, pretty much the top 2 running backs in the league, and the top quarterback in the league. So
yeah,
that's
I remember Neighbors was the guy he was high on. He was taking Neighbors earlier than a lot of people were.
Right. So as you can see, when I go down the leaderboard, you'll see Cash's name a lot, which probably means he has a lot of the same builds. You got Keith
Richards in all the leagues.
Yeah, you got Keith Richards. Keith Richards, second. Cash, third. Chief Slice, fourth. Cash again. Mr. Been doing this. Cash again. Grizz Tony, Twin Sanity, and Colin Black.
Let's not breeze over Mr. Ben doing this. 10 out of 10. I think this is 1 out of 10, right? Or is it 9?
He's in all 10, but we're going to go to the next screen, and we'll go through all the leagues real quick, and you'll see that some of these players are in the top 4 in multiple leagues. So if you
Which
look
he
at,
is. I tease him, but he is.
Yeah, so we'll look at League 1. Up at the top is Twin Sanity at 3-0. He's got 434 points. You have Finch GDX second, Love John third, and then Pablo Escobar is fourth. So that is that's league number 1. We'll go to league number 2, which is Beast. And in this league, we got Colin Black. He's number 1. He had you can see there, he had a 3 position jump, 427 points. You got Zay in second. You have Texas Player third, and then Stoney fourth.
What I realize is all of them are 2-1 the entire
Yep,
top
the
six
entire
are
entire
2-1.
league 2-1. So this is the league out of all the leagues that are all nobody's 3-0, and all the points for are pretty low. So this is probably the lowest out of the 10 leagues.
Yeah,
So
that means it's probably the best drafting league, and a lot of people pick good players and
a lot of parity.
played out across the league as opposed to one team.
Yep.
A big thumbs down to Hawk Tua. God, I'm so sick of that. So played out.
Hey, that girl's funny, dude. Wet Dreams Tomato.
No, she had her 15 minutes. Get off the clock.
All right, League 3.
Yeah, League three we got is Gambit. We got Keith Richards. He's 3-0. He's 5 and let's see. He's got 505 points. And let's see. 505 points. You got Thrill Kill, 449 points. Chiefs Life, 441. And there is S. Clem.
The Death Crusader was for the win. It's your time to shine, man.
See, they're not even meant to be this good this early. They're meant to come in late, baby, and they're still here.
What's concerning is this points for here, 355 points. Very concerning.
Hey, it's Death Crusaders, baby. It's Death Crusaders. The way the injuries are happening, Crusaders are going to come through.
So we'll see if Sean holds that place next year or next week, or if
You also need to notice that I still have $200 in FOB. So when the time comes, the players will be on my squad.
There you
Oh
go.
yeah, because he traded for like 100 fab, right?
No, that was a different league that I'm already knocked out of. Thank you for bringing it up, though.
All right.
That was the guillotine.
All right, go on to league number 5, Nightcrawler.
What about Colossus? Did we cover Colossus? League 4?
Did we miss League 4? Oh, we did miss League
Right
4.
there.
Go to League 4. Sorry,
Yeah, Chiefs Life would be mad at you, bro. You can't pass on this league.
Yes. So at the top is Chiefs Life. He is 3-0, 456 points. You have Zay again, 2403 at 2-1, and he has 507 points, which actually would put him number 2 overall in all 10 leagues. So having 507 points.
He's the Buffalo Bills of fantasy, always in second.
Yeah, so he ends up in second place in this league, where any other league he'd be in first place. You got Dougie 1727 with 442, and then Dusty James at 412. So that is Colossus number 4. Now we'll go to number 5.
Wait, I have it right here. Sean, in league number 3, you did have a trade with Pistachio where you acquired 100 of his fab. That's how you have 200.
What can I say? Oh, yeah, that's right. In the draft. I did do that, didn't I?
Consider you fabulous. Waka waka.
I'm that amazing, and I haven't even used it. That's how great I am.
All right, we are on to number 5, Nightcrawler. At the top is Mr. Been Doing This, the Gila Monsters at 451.
Rio.
Cash number 3, 3-0 at 441. We got Grizz Tony at 490 and Team Wizard King at 449. Now, before we go on, this is very interesting right here. So Mr. Been Doing This is actually, he's in the top 4 in 4 of the leagues. And in quite a few of these leagues, he has quite a few points where he was scored. He has high points, but he played opponents that had higher points, so he wasn't able to get the victories. But he, in 4 leagues, being in the top 4 is very good. Cash, number 3, and we'll talk about him later. He's in 5 of the top 5. He's in 5 leagues where he's in the top 4, and that's very, very impressive. Here you got Grizz Tony, who scored 490 points in this league, which would put him number 5 overall out of the 10 leagues. So he has the
number 1 overall if he didn't get a unfortunate loss.
Right. So my point is he's 490 points. He's in 3rd in this league, but he's 5 overall in points. So he just crazy that he's just in circumstance of being in the wrong league. So that's Nightcrawler number 5. So now we are going to go over to Team 6 or League 6, Phoenix, and we got Cash again, 3-0, 451 points. We have Mr. Bin doing this, sitting there right at second with 483. Another monster score for Mr. Ben. I mean, that would put him fifth, sixth overall, for the whole all 10 leagues. You got T Sizzle at 431, and you got Scofflaw 86 at 443. So sorry about that. The dogs.
And you got Squem with Pardue Crusaders at in the 5th place with 401. Just throwing that up there.
Yep. Dogs going nuts. Give me a sec.
We wanted to make sure that we talked about the Depth Crusaders Pardue. You know, they needed their screen time.
All right. So let me just chill out the dog real quick. And we will go to.
That's a good segue into Iceman.
All right, we'll go to League 7. Sorry about that, guys.
Hey,
Dog
loves our pod, bro. You can't hate on the dog for loving the pod.
Oh my God! All right, League 7, Iceman. We got Grizz Tony 3-0. He's in first place, 442. Mr. Ben again, sitting at number 2, 443. So these guys have been in the top 4 in a lot of these leagues. Bada Bing 611 is 446, and then TDX Storm at 442. So that's number 7, Iceman. We will go now to League 8, which is everyone's favorite league, Deadpool. And up at the top again, we have Cash, 490 at the top.
That's
he
not
named
fair.
himself
You gotta
Deadpool.
change your team name. You can't take the league name as the team name.
He's trying to own the league.
Yeah, no, you gotta change it to one of the other Deadpools. Like you gotta add like a prefix or a whatever you call it after the word.
Yeah, like dog pool or something.
Yeah, like dog pool or something. Like you can't be Deadpool.
He's trying
Movie
to.
of the year, by the way.
Pardon me?
Movie of the year, if you guys haven't seen it, and that movie was excellent.
Really? See, I was not impressed by the storyline. The movie was good, but the storyline was just. I mean, where's the main bad guy? Like the whole time.
Cassandra Nova. I don't know. I loved it. I watched it twice in theaters.
I don't know. I maybe I'm in the minority here, but I was slightly underwhelmed.
Yeah, I don't know. Not a Marvel guy. I don't know. Hate me for it.
Cool take.
All right. So Scott's no longer on the pod, everybody. I'll be taking over.
So sitting at number 2, we got Grizz Tony 3-0, 333 points. That's pretty low for being second place, but obviously had some good fortunes with matchups. We got Scofflaw 86, 489 points, and that would put him like 4th overall out of all the 10 leagues at 2-1. So another guy.
Chris Tony and got a bad week, huh?
Yeah, another guy sitting at 3rd place in a league with a monster amount of points. And then at 4th, we got Wade Wilson, Zubakis. He's been on.
Oh, our buddy.
Our game manager from way up in Alaska. So he's sitting at 4th at 2-1 with 460, which is a pretty good score too, 460.
And he's got a great opinion.
So let's
go. Of course, you got to highlight that comment.
Yeah. Jesus. Okay, let's go over to league number 9. So league number 9, we have there he is again, Cash 3-0, 528. We got Brocky Balboa. That's JoJo.
Joe
puts all those wonderful DFS tools on our website. He's 3-0, 413 points. You got Big Blue 79. He's got 469 points, which would put him 6th overall out of all 10 leagues at 2-1. And then we have
number 5 master debaters.
Yeah. And then we have sitting at number 4, we have Zay 2403 at 448. And Zay is in the top 4 in 3 out of the 10 leagues. Grizz Tony's, he's in the top 4 in 4 out of the 10 leagues. So we have a lot of players here that are doing very, very well in multiple leagues. That shows you who the strong players are. We'll go to Magneto number 10, and in first place, who else? It's Cash. Cash 453. There's Grizz Tony at 436. There's Mr. Ben up there again, 422, and then Pablo Escobar at 398. So I'm going to have at the end of every week when we do this, I'm going to have my pimp of the week, my pimp game manager of the week.
I'm a fucking pimp.
Waiting on it. Can't really hear it, but it's a drop that Sean said a long time ago that he's a pimp.
I'm a fucking pimp. I'm a fucking pimp.
So we're gonna have our pimp of the week, and this is our gamer who just puts together awesome weeks in all his leagues, whether it's points or standings. And this will hopefully, it'll probably change every week. It might not, but this week's pimp of the week is obviously it's going to be Cash 3. His statistics, like I said, he's in 5 out of the 10 leagues that he's in. He's in the top 4, and he also has the number 1 overall score out of all 10 leagues. So that's a really good accomplishment for him. But I don't want to disregard any of the other players like Mr. Ben doing this, who's doing very well with points overall. Grizz Tony, he's doing very well. And also Zay 2403. So I want to congratulate these guys. The one thing I noticed about these guys in these leagues and why they're being so successful is they're very active. They're very active on the waiver wire. They're very active in trades. They're always trying to improve their team and just trying to put the best, statistical lineup and optimal lineup as possible every week. So congratulations. That is your high stakes rewind for the week.
Good job, guys.
So, good job, guys. And now we are going to talk about a fun little league that Alex put together called the Mini Leagues, and I'll let Alex get into it. Go ahead, Alex.
Hey, all right, cool, thanks. So this week's a big week. We have mini games all over. If you're part of Ballsville, you probably have access to either free entries or mini games. We have a lot of them that wrap up after week 4. One of the bigger, more established mini games is called Horse Race, and it's just we go to week 4 because then we enter bye weeks and things start to get a little convoluted. But for Horse Race, we give you 12 slots, and you go and rank the running backs based off of Ballsville scoring, who's going to score the most, 1 through 12. So you give us your list, and then we go and score it. You get a point. If your player is on the top 12 list, you get 2 more points if you get the correct number. And then if there's a tie, then we assign, tiebreaker points to the running backs. Like if you call running back 2 correctly, it's going to be worth more than calling running back 10 correctly. So you can see right here, that's a player's card that Sean has up. And as of now, the top running backs, we have Saquon at number 1, Kamara, A-Chain, Kyron Williams, James Cook, Breece Hall for the top 6. And then we have Derrick Henry, Charbonnet, Montgomery, Aaron Jones, which is a big surprise to me, Jonathan Taylor, and then J.K. Dobbins, which is probably a bigger surprise. So after this week wraps up, we're going to go and create a game winner card, and it's going to have, the top 12 running backs, and then we go and we take everybody's entry, like what you see on the screen, and we compare that to the game winner card, and we create, we have a winner, and the winner is going to win $20. I have to double check because it's like it started off $10, and then every time we drop the mini game into like a new best ball division, like if it hits a new hub, then it goes up by $20. If we put it into the redraft game, it goes up again. So the more players that come and play the game, the more money is on the line. And that's just one of our games. We also have, if you want to pull up the next slides, it's like red and blue. Oh, here we go. All right. So 2 more things we have going on is a big mock. That's going to be, it's one of the drafts that we had to begin the best ball season. And 10 of us just kind of got together and did a big mock. We did 10 rounds. So no depth, sorry, McCaffrey owner. But After the first 4 weeks, then we have, most points is going to win. I think it's like a free best ball entry, and you can see Ludes is on top there. Scott, you're the one winning, in case you didn't know. Obviously, you didn't know.
From what I understand, Scott said he's going to give that best ball entry right back into the pot. So
donating
that's
it.
what I remember him telling me off
I am
camera.
no, I am. I'm going to donate. I'm going to donate my winnings to that. I think I did say it on the pod. I'm gonna give that to a lucky winner for next year.
Oh, nice. You hear that, listeners? He's going to raffle it off or something. That's pretty cool.
You know who you're rooting for, right? He's right here at the top. This guy.
So you better root for me.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got a nice little lead there. So, and then for the red and blue, those are for the mini leagues. It's two. I think it's 24 team best ball games. So the way that you enter these, if you're in the mini leagues, which is our way too early best ball, you're in the hubs and stuff. Your name is there, and you get to join a hub. Where we divide everybody into two groups. And then it's just a big best ball game, and it's most points for after week 4. And the prize there, I don't know off the top of my head. Actually, I do. It's $25 a piece. So it's just free money that we give.
Where will their invites be in 2025 for a mini
on the website?
Oh, and what's the name of that website once again?
theballsvillegame.com. You know that. Hell yeah.
All right.
So red and blue are each worth $25. So the entry into the mini leagues is only $4. So if you have $4, you get a shot at winning your league and then pursuing the bigger prizes, the bonuses, and then you also get entry into this is the second for those leagues. And then so after week 4, we're gonna have a lot of winners. And then we have other mini leagues that carry on. Some of them end after week 14. Like we have Target Hogs, where we were predicting, who the target leaders are going to be for some of these ambiguous receiving cores, like the Texans. Who's going to be the dominant one there? Dal Diggs. Yeah. For the Bills, I think they're part of it too.
I picked Leo.
So yeah. Shakir is obviously winning that one. So it's just one of the many things that we do here. We want to create more winners, and it doesn't take a whole lot to get into the game. So we look forward to it. Next week we'll have a list of your winners, and that's something that Zubikis keeps track of. So we'll see if we can get him on the pod to come over here and announce some winners. We don't have to wait till the end of the season.
No, that would be great. That's awesome. Well, like I said, that's the wrap. And like I said before, if I win that league, I'm gonna donate my winnings. I don't know what I'll donate it to yet. Maybe a best ball entry or I don't know. How much would I win in that league, Alex?
Well, that's the mock. I think it's just a free entry to one of the best ball games. So you can
get a free entry into the best ball games.
But if I win the blue standings, I will donate those winnings, which are more than one entry.
There you go. All righty. Let's get into what everybody likes to hear on every now and again that we do it. And what is that, Sean?
It's the Trade Talks.
Trade Talks.
Nice.
All right. We're going to hit into some trades. Now, my dog's going to go crazy, so chill out.
She loves the Trade Talks too.
Yeah,
your dog is a pod friend. Yeah. She loves the show.
I'll let you know how that goes when you start kicking
So trade number 1, we're sitting here, we got C-Bomb and Jay Morris. So, we all know who C-Bomb is, right? That's our good buddy Connor. So Connor got J.K. Dobbins, Brian Robinson Jr., and Jaden Reed in exchange for Tank Bigsby, Roma Dunze, and a 2025 second. What say you, El Presidente?
Well, I think we talked about this. What I like to do for these trades when I break them down, if I'm going to get deep into it,
go to theballsbrigade.com and use the breakdown tool.
Well, I like to call somebody that backwards from there. So right here, I would consider Romo Dunze to be the dollar. I think he's going to be the best asset of the trade. But I think Jaden Reed is going to be right behind him. I would give him like an 80 out of 100. And then Brian Robinson, the way he's performing now, I'd give him like 50. Dobbins, maybe like a quarter. And I think the Jaden Reed side is going to pay off a lot more than the Odunze side when you factor all that in.
Awesome. What do you think, Scotty?
I was a little distracted. Can you go, Sean?
Yeah, no problem. So, in my opinion, to be honest with you, I think it's all based on build, right? Like, if the team that is sending away J.K. Robinson and Jaden Reed is in a rebuild mode and they're getting Odunze in a second, I think great trade for them, right? I don't really even count Tank Bigsby as much right now, at least at this point. So I'm not going to be too worried about that. But if Connor's in a win now mode and he's receiving J.K. Dobbins, Brian Robinson, and Jaden Reed on a team that is looking to compete, then I think it's a win for him too. So this is one of those trades where I feel like if the situation is right, as far as the team builds, it could be a win-win.
Yeah, looking into this, I kind of agree with Sean. It's probably, I'm assuming Connor's in a win now. I love the Brian Robinson pickup. I think he's really, really good in that offense now that you got Daniels. Looks like he's going to be very efficient with the passing game. So it's just going to open up the run game for Brian Robinson, and he does catch passes out of the backfield. We all know how Connor loves Jaden Reed, so he obviously was targeting him. And then J.K. Dobbins, it's kind of a mixed bag with him. I mean, how long is he going to last? I mean, he could carve himself out a nice, 2 or 3 year career, and hopefully if he avoids injury. And then on the other side, getting a Odunze is a nice pickup. The second round, good value. It's probably going to be, the only problem with that though is if Connor's winning, it's probably going to be a late second. So, I might have tried to press him for a late first. I mean, like, hey man, your first is going to be late. Just give me your first. It's going to be like a second anyways, and I would have tried to press
or a
on
better
that.
piece than Tank Bigsby.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because Tank Bigsby's nothing. So
non-factor.
Yeah, so for Morris, I would have just been, I'd have held his feet under the fire. I don't know how well he knows C-Bomb, but I would have known if I was Jay Morris, I would have known, hey, I know he loves Jaden Reed. You want this deal done, you're going to give me a first.
Yeah.
This was in Bahama.
What's that?
This was in Bahama League 4. I'm actually in that league, and Connor's put together a hell of a roster there.
Yeah, so that makes sense then that he's trying to push for a championship there, and this is in the dynasty, so it's in our format with the Ballsville format. So he's going to have to compete against the last leggers at some point. So he definitely needs to be prepared for that.
I'm pulling it up, but I'm pretty sure that Connor he tanked year 1, and he ended up with Neighbors, Marvin Harrison, and Odunze.
Oh wow.
Jeez, he says he's at a wedding right now. Man, I hope you put some hair gel in, dude. Don't roll up in there with the old Dumb and Dumber bowl cut that you normally rock with.
I just told him to put a cowboy hat on. He'll fit in with everybody else.
Just so everybody knows, you guys can't see it, but I can see it, and Sarah almost fell out of her chair right now.
Jeez. All right, what's the next trade?
Next trade. Drum roll, please. Da-doom. Samaje Perine, Chuba Hubbard, and Tank Dell goes to Harper 1024 in exchange for Jameson Williams to Ethan Blinka 10. Right? All that for Jameson. I think you just basically dropped Samaje and Chuba out of the whole deal, and you do the Tank Dell for Jameson Williams, and I'm still up in the air. So I think obviously we know who the winner is, but you guys tell me what your opinions are.
All right. Well, he's getting basically a rental in Chuba, and P. Ryan. We all know how I feel about guys with oatmeal pants. Don't want to acquire anybody with oatmeal pants. So to me, it's just basically a Tank Dell for Jameson Williams swap. I mean, I guess if you're dying at running back, I would, I guess it's not bad, but I don't know. I'm not.
Stop trying to church it up. Just tell us what you really think.
Yeah, I think I would just rather have the Jameson Williams side.
Are you guys Jameson
You want
over?
the JMO side?
I'm taking the JMO side. I am. I'm taking the JMO side because Chuba Hubbard's just going to be. He's going to be. Once he loses that job, P Ryan's going to be. He's nothing in that deal. So it's basically to me, it's Tank Dell for Chuba for Jameson Williams, and I like Jameson Williams a lot. I mean, he's coming in this offense really good. Tank Dell is. Everybody thought coming into the year that Nico Collins was going to be the one that suffered from Stephon Diggs coming into that offense.
Everybody but the guys on this pod.
And it's been Tank Dell. It's been Tank Dell that's suffering. Yep. So,
but I still don't know if I long-term prefer Jameson over Tank because I still think Tank has a role in that offense as soon as Diggs is gone next year.
Yeah, that's where I stand. I think it's Diggs is going to time out. His contract's only for this year, right, Stephon?
Yeah. They voided the final years of his contract, so he's basically a free agent after this year.
And so something noteworthy, you're looking at 50 to 60 snap percentage for Chuba Hubbard to end last year, and he's only got 50 to 60 snap percentage this year, and he's got one game under 11 fantasy points over the last 8 or 9 games. I mean, the dude, that sounds like an underrated player there. Now Jonathan Brooks is on the horizon, but I don't think they're going to just give him the workload right away. And if he's performing like this with 50 to 60 snap percentage, I mean, he could be a tangible asset going forward.
So are you guys saying that Tank Dell is the best player in this deal?
Well, I think it's a wash. I think the extra pieces put the Harper side over for me. Jameson Williams, we have 2 years of him. Well, 1 year and a suspension year of him underperforming, and then he came out, had a game and a half of decency, and everybody's ready to pass him the crown because it's what they're hoping for. But his performance came at the detriment of Sam Laporta, and once Laporta's back, I think those two are going to be the ones to eat into each other. Plus, we just talked about how strong that run game is. How often are they going to be airing it out and giving him the lion's share of the targets? I think once Stephon Diggs times out, it's going to be the Nico Collins Tank Dell show because the running back in Houston is Mixon, and he's 28 years old.
Yeah.
So I would say Tank Dell has the better future if he had to ask me in a vacuum.
I don't know. I think I'm still going to go with the guy who was drafted in the first round, playing in the SEC. So that's just me.
If he didn't come out so strong, what was it, week 1? If you cut his production down a little bit, I mean, people would still label him a bust of a pick.
Yeah.
He just had that one game.
If he got tackled on his long touchdown.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that I hate on Jameson, not at all. I like Jameson. I like his trajectory, but I don't think I like it that much more than Tank Dell, and then I think Tank Dell being tied to CJ Stroud versus him being tied to Goff is, the difference for me.
Got you. All right. Well, like I said, fair points. We'll see how this all plays out probably in a couple years.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it. We get to watch it.
Yeah.
Well, at least 2/3 of this trade we'll find out within the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Right. Sure. With fucking P. Ryan and Howard.
Yeah.
Okay.
P. Ryan's a non-factor.
What's next?
All right. Drum roll, please. Boom. Moving into Jay Morris and JM Hubs, 2 of our regulars. Making a trade. We got Jalen Waddle and Nico Collins and a 2025 fourth for Xavier Legette, a 2025 first, 2025 second, and another 2025 first. So 2 firsts and a second.
This is
go ahead, Scotty. I'll let you go first, man, because I'm still up in the air myself.
I'm kind of up in the air too. I'll try to piece through it. So like I said, what I usually try to do is when I try to evaluate a trade, I try to right away try to identify the best player in the deal. The best player in the deal is Nico Collins. So what is Nico Collins' worth on the trade market in Dynasty? He's for sure a first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's worth any more.
Would you say Leggett in the first?
That's fine.
So then Waddle would be a second and a first? Because the fourth to me is a wash. I don't even.
Yeah, I mean, is Waddle really worth a first and a second?
Not to me.
Probably.
I mean, unless you're looking at it as Nico for 2 firsts and then Leggett for a second and
yeah, but is Nico really worth 2 firsts? I mean, you're talking about he needs to be for him to be worth 2 firsts. That's like Justin Jefferson range. Is he there yet? I mean, he could be there. I'm not saying he's not. I love Nico Collins. Is he?
I mean, this brings up a good point because I kind of had this argument with somebody the other day about, I consider Nico higher than Puka on the dynasty rankings right now for myself. That's where I'm at, right? So, at that point, like, is that worth 2 firsts? The way the receiving core looks in general in NFL, like, I don't.
Well, I've seen Puka go for 2 firsts before the injury, so
which to me was an overpay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I think if you saw a trade go down, Nico Collins for 2 firsts, you would look at it and you'd go, yeah, okay, I guess.
You'd be like, okay, especially if one of them is like projected late.
So then you're talking about Waddle for a second and Leggett, and assuming these are late first. I mean, put players there. So let's say we're talking about this year's rookie draft, and you're saying like, all right, the 2 firsts are going to be Worthy and Jonathan Brooks. Would you trade Nico for Worthy and Jonathan Brooks?
Yeah, I mean, currently yes, but like in a dynasty, of course, you got the long-term aspect to consider. But I mean, I think maybe I would want like Nico and a second for those 2 players, maybe.
In week 3, even if I'm 0-3, I'm not throwing in the towel, and I'm still going for the players. I would still rather have Nico and Waddle here. Waddle, I've seen him move a lot in the dynasty leagues, and I think he's being sold at a low right now because anywhere you listen, any other like the fantasy footballers or whatever, if you're listening to them, they're talking about how Tyreek Hill is still rosterable and Waddle is a sit.
Yeah, everybody says Waddle's a sit right now.
Yeah.
Sean, what I tell you the other day when you were asking me about trade, and I was telling you to buy Waddle on the dip.
Yeah, no, you definitely did say that, and
it's a smart
thing. And it's because right now, I mean, he's definitely at the right value. You can get him at a really good value, especially in dynasty. So, I mean, I don't hate that at all. To be honest with you, especially if those firsts end up being like, say, like a 6-10. Or like even like a 4-11, I still think I'm okay with the Nico Waddle side over that.
So, and what I want to try to, I mean, not everyone's going to agree on this, but this is the way I think of draft picks compared to players. These are just random picks. We don't know anything about these picks. They're random. They're like sticking your hand in a bag and searching around for something. So you're getting established assets, which have already been proven. So why take a risk on a draft pick when you already have proven players?
Kyle Pitts is a great example of that.
Unless you're in a total rebuild where you have like a total rebuild, then I totally understand. You want to try to acquire picks and try to land quarterbacks and stuff like that.
Keep in mind too, if you're in one of these dynasty leagues for Ballsville, our rookie order for 1 through 6 is based off of max points. So if you're trying to like tank your team, and you want to get rid of assets, this is the way to go because you're getting rid of assets that are going to accumulate your max points and they're going to increase your own draft pick.
Correct.
No, and I'm the type of person too that like I like to make moves like this if I'm JM and I'm getting that type of an asset. Like I don't want to carry those picks into the draft. I want to make a move. Maybe one of them stays on my squad, but I don't want to carry both those picks. I want to make a move with one of those picks for an established player before the season starts. and just add another piece to my roster that I know is a solid piece, and then go into the draft with the one remaining first rounder or whatever. But I'm not a fan of going into a draft and having 6 or 7 of the first round picks in the draft and picking all those players to build your team. I think you should take 2 or 3 of those picks and get like a JJ or get like a solid player that can really build around that is going to be a foundation no matter what.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I like the Jay Morris side.
Yep. All right, cool. I think we're all in agreement. All right, let's move on.
All right. Next one is our finale trade to talk about our boy Connor. Here we go. This is a straight up 1-for-1. We never see these, right? Straight up 1-for-1.
Sean,
go ahead.
Just before you get into that, we got to talk about 2 more trades after this because it's the Mr. Ben ones. I got to talk about him. He's in the chat.
Oh, okay. Well, I think if they're not on the screen share, if Sarah's got the ability to pull those in and throw them into the screen so that we have them up to pull up, then that would be awesome.
Because they are good. There are good trades. They're better than this thing. This thing we can just talk on it for like 30 seconds.
Oh no! We got to talk about Connor.
Oh, let me start. So I understand what he was doing in this trade. I mean, he's trying to sell Neighbors high, which earlier in the pod I said, hey, this is a great time to sell Neighbors. You can get him, trade him for, top dog if you want. But I can't stand trades that are for the same position. I think it's counterproductive. It makes no sense. And I would rather see him trade Malik Neighbors for like a Bijan, Breece Hall, like that kind of a thing. If he's weak at running back, I don't know his team setup, but I just think position for position trades, are senseless. This is dynasty. He didn't get younger; he actually got older. And who knows if Malik Neighbors isn't going to be on the same level, if not even better than CeeDee Lamb in a year or two.
I don't know. I heavily favor the Lamb side. I think Lamb's still at the pinnacle up there with Justin Jefferson, and as much as Neighbors has shown us, we talked about that offense and what happens if he does take an injury or if they do fall out of contention and they kind of pull back on the throttle and there's a lot that could happen. There's a lot of variables for the Giants offense. I like the Lamb side.
I mean, I'm just before Sean gets into it, I don't want to make the mistake of people thinking I don't like the trade for Connor. I like the trade. I think the Lamb is the better player, but I don't like the position, going after the same position. I would rather seen him go after an elite running back who's young, like Bijan, Breece Hall.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I get that point too because it's kind of a wash across the board. Like you're basically like moving, a 1A for a 1A, and it's just kind of it doesn't really like do much for you. Like the value that you have from both those players, if you're going to move them for somebody that's going to benefit your squad in a way that they don't already benefit your squad. So that's just not it doesn't really just change anything. It just kind of like your status quo basically. So, but as far as the value is concerned, I'm definitely taking Lamb over Neighbors currently. And the main reason I say that is the Dak contract. I mean, what do you got going on out in New York right now? You got a sucks at football Daniel Jones who's short arming every pass, and he's gone next year. And then you have an unknown, and you have a team that doesn't really have an offensive line or doesn't really have like a identity or any kind of like substance to them yet. And then you've got Dallas who as much as we talk mess about them in the playoffs and how they never make it to the end, they're always there throughout the season and they're always competitive and they're always a team. So Dak is there, Dak's going to be there. To me I take the more higher floor and the top end ceiling as opposed to Neighbors, in my opinion, who has the top end ceiling, but also has like a drop in floor.
Sean, I got a Neighbors trade I want your opinion on. Would you rather have Malik Neighbors and Amari Cooper are Nico Collins and Cooper Kupp.
Okay, so I hate you right now, number one, for even bringing that up.
This was our trade.
Amazing trade. Hey, the last Lakers were built for a trade like that, okay? I didn't know Cooper was going to fucking break an ankle, like, good God.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just giving you a hard time. It's only because he's injured that it looks a little obscure, but that's the only league I have neighbors in is that league where we made that trade. So thanks.
Hey, and I've honestly, I've looked at that team and everything. Every time I stare at that team, do I think about the fact that neighbors should be on that roster, and it frustrates me because I'm just like, man, dude, I traded him away because I didn't think he was going to be quite there yet, right? And that's the only reason. And I just had such a old team that I needed to be ready to roll, and then here we are, and neighbors is ready to roll, and I'm sitting here watching him score on your squad.
Took no time to get up to speed in the NFL, man. I mean, it's remarkable in itself.
But yeah. I mean, I definitely love him as a player. I hate that a lot of these scenarios that have come up are making me sound like I'm dogging neighbors. I really like neighbors. I just think that right now at this specific moment in time, his value is so high that if you own him, you should trade him. And if you don't own him, do not try to trade for him because he is outrageously expensive.
Definitely. He's a bright, shiny new toy.
Yeah. So that's the only reason I'm acting the way I'm acting about him. I love him as a player. I think he's going to be in the top 5 to 6 receivers for the next 3-5 years. No problem. I just right now, get what you can, because I think his value is might not get higher than it is now, honestly.
All right, Sean. I think Sarah queued up the next two.
Yep, I think we have them here. Let me scroll on through here. This is the start stats here. Give me 2 seconds here to just get everything.
Well, let's talk about Connor's question. We'll go through that. This one's for you, Scott.
Would you trade Pitts for Kincaid in Dynasty? I would say no. I would keep Kincaid. Like I said, right now, watching the Atlanta offense, I just don't think they really have him a whole lot involved in the offense. I mean, just spot areas where he's been getting involved. I think they're actually a lot of his targets are going to Darnell Mooney, which is surprising, rather than Pitts. So I would rather go with Kincaid in the.
How viable do you think Mooney and a Raven McLeod are right now in fantasy?
I'm trying to grab Mooney in a lot of my redrafts if I could. I think I got a few shares of them in redraft off the waiver wire, but a lot of people were smart
before the season.
Yeah, a lot of people were smart and picked him up. So I think going forward, Mooney's definitely going to be involved in that offense.
He looks good out there, man. He looks quick and agile.
I think he just had to get out of Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, I like Mooney in Chicago, so I'm happy to see him doing well in Atlanta. And, I definitely agree with you. I think Mooney's a piece to have.
Okay. All right. Well, then these 2 trades are from Mr. Ben. He hit me up today and said that we didn't talk about him last time. And when he sent them to me, I said, these are actually good trades to talk about. So the first one is from the Reptile Mid, number 7. If I can see it right, it looks like.
Do you want me to read it off to you, Scott?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are we talking the Alan Lazard, Justin Jefferson? Okay. So Mr. Ben doing this received Alan Lazard, Justin Jefferson, Gabe Davis, and Chris Olave. He sent away Stephon Diggs, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris, and George Pickens.
Okay, so the best player in the deal, obviously, is Justin Jefferson. He acquired 4 receivers and gave away or sent 2 receivers and 2 running backs. So as much as I don't like all kinds of players, I like to stick to either 1-on-1s or 2-for-2s. This actually, has a lot of good moving pieces moving back and forth. I mean, you could maybe not say too much about Gabe Davis, but jury's still out on him. But But what do you think about that? What do you think about that trade, Alex? It's pretty. That's kind of. I'm not going to say it's a huge big boy trade, but it's a trade.
It's a nice little block. I call them blockbusters. That's a blockbuster trade there. Anytime you see Jeddah's move, it's something to pay attention to. And I'm assuming that these are this trade right here fills a team need for both of them. And however you break it down, it looks like a pretty even trade to me.
Yeah, I mean, I know that in the chat, I think it was the screenshot he sent me. I think somebody wrote collusion and some. So there are some people in there that probably thought it was a bad trade. But
every time, and there's people that know each other in these leagues, and they like to talk that trash. And then I'll come in and I'll be like, "All right, calm down," and they're like, "Oh, I'm just kidding." And it's like, "All right, you're kidding, but you're making other people."
Don't joke about that because that just causes us problems, guys. So just
exactly, you don't
want to joke about other crap, like throw them a couple of poop emojis, whatever. But collusion it's an animal we don't want to mess with. So just move on.
You've been doing this. His name's Rio. I call him Rio. He gets a bad rap because he's outspoken, and the dude just he says what's on his mind, and you can't fault him for it. Not everybody gets along with him.
You kind of can, like sometimes, just don't type it. You can say it, just don't type it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, sometimes you can Rio. Sometimes you are to blame, but a lot of the times, anytime he does anything, somebody's got something to say. So he's just popular, is what it is.
I mean, he's
got his own car.
Mr. Ben acquired Justin Jefferson and Olave, but he did pay for it. I mean, it's not like it was a bad he just got him for nothing. I mean, I still like Josh Jacobs. I still like George Pickens. I
don't hate the other side, honestly. It's close.
I don't. I think it's actually, to be honest with you, I think it's a pretty even trade. I mean, Mr. Ben, he did give away a few, some pretty good assets, which will help the other team. So you figure the other team got 4 guys he can stick in his lineup and score points every week. Where I don't know if you can do that with Gabe Davis.
My guess is that the one dude was hit with injuries, and Mr. Ben doing this had a deep squad and was willing to move a bunch of pieces to get a high-end piece.
Yeah, and Chris Olave had a good week last week, so I think he's going to start ramping up. So I think, to be honest with you, I think it's a pretty even trade.
And Jefferson is the best player in the trade, like you said, and Darnold's getting him the ball, so it works out, man. I like it.
All right, what about you, Sean? Anything?
No, I think it's like you guys said. I mean, I almost slightly want to lean towards Rio's side a little bit, just because I like the fact that he got the 4 solid players to play towards. I'm assuming this is redraft, he's got the opportunity to that could turn your team around to add 4 pieces like that, especially if you ran into a ton of injuries and you're kind of stuck right now. If you're sitting at 1 and 2 and you make a move like this, you move away from Jefferson, but you're getting 4 solid players and some depth pieces where you don't have to play like a Ty Johnson as a flex and things like that. It could be very helpful.
Right. I think the key to this trade too, real quick, is as long as Lazard can stay at number 2 and not let Mike Williams dip into any of his targets. If he can stay at number 2 and finish the year with 7 to 8 touchdowns, 800-900 yards, then it's a guy that he'll be able to play Lazard every week in the
He's got a touchdown a game, right? He's got 3 touchdowns to start the season.
I think Lazard deserves to be on the scrap heap, but that's just maybe because I'm
but it's always part of a 32-team IDP league. It's a big league, and I won a championship one year, and it was really off the back of Alan Lazard because he was just overperforming every week, man. I mean, people love to poo on him, but he gets the job done, and Rodgers loves him.
Okay. All right, let's go to his other trade. So his other trade was in the – I'm not even going to say what this league was. I'll let Alex. Alex, what's this? I can never pronounce this league, and I'm not going to – I know you hate the name I call it, so –
No, I want to hear you say it, Scott. You got to say it, dude.
No, Sean.
He doesn't want to get in trouble.
Alex gets mad at me when I do this, so I don't want to say it.
I'm guessing you're talking about Noob Saibot, right?
Yes, I am. I'm talking about that.
Yes.
I told you I don't follow these characters and stuff. I don't follow these characters.
I just like the way you say it so much.
The only ones I follow is he's not a Mortal Kombat guy, is he?
Yes, yeah.
Is
He's
he?
actually His name is Noob Saibot, which backwards is Boone Tobias, which is one of the game developers for the original Mortal Kombat. That's how that character got it.
I just remember. I'm kind of an older guy, so I only remember the older Mortal Kombat guys. You know, Johnny Cage and Raiden and Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and those are the only guys I remember. These
newer from part 2.
Okay, so yeah, I was well past that. That was like past the video game stage that I stopped playing those type of games. But anyway,
say it, Scott.
anyways, we will go to this league. So go ahead, Sean. What's the trade?
Oh man, okay, let me compose myself here. It's another Mr. Ben doing this. It's Mr. Ben doing this and Brady D. Brady D got Braylon Allen, Keon Coleman, and Kyron Williams in exchange for Brian Thomas, Deontay Johnson, and Travis Etienne.
Okay, so I'll start with this one. So like I said, I feel that the best player in the deal doesn't always win. And this is the perfect example, in my opinion, is the best player in the deals is Kyron Williams, in my opinion. But not too close, far behind is Travis Etienne. So you can almost say that's a wash as far as both running backs. And then to be able to get Brian Thomas Jr., who I really like, and Deontay Johnson with the quarterback change, which I think will really help him going forward, will really help out Mr. Ben's team. I know, and he traded basically Braylon Allen at a high, and Keon Coleman, who really hasn't shown too much in this offense. Everything's been going to Kincaid and Shakir. So I definitely like Mr. Ben's side. We'll go right. And Sean, what do you think? Because Coleman's in the obviously we'll talk about you next because we got a Buffalo Bill in there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think Coleman, you're giving him a slightly bad rap because he did get, basically benched for a good part of the first half of this game based on like showing up late for practice and stuff. So I think Coleman is going to be a bigger part of that offense. And I think that offense is that much better that even though Thomas will have a bigger role, it won't be that much like higher fantasy wise than Coleman's, right? So to me, I would put the Coleman Brian Thomas as like a wash. So you're looking at Kyron Williams and Braylon Allen for Deontay Johnson, Travis Etienne. I think that is pretty dang close to a wash for me also. I think Deontay Johnson, you're buying at a high. I think he's going to be okay, but I don't think he'll be, consistently solid. I just don't have the type of faith in Andy Dalton to stay, at that type of performing level on a regular basis when he starts playing against better teams. So, I'm not 100% high on him over Braylon Allen. I think Braylon Allen it's a good stash grab, especially if he's sitting with Breece Hall. If he has Breece Hall in this lineup, then, I don't hate that move at all because Braylon Allen becomes an instant star if Breece Hall goes down. So, and then Kyron Williams, I do have higher than ETN to an extent that I think the difference is enough that I am happy with the Brady side, for this trade just as much as I'd be happy with either side. So this one to me is closer than the other one, honestly, as far as value. It's pretty dead on.
Alex?
I feel the same way. I think Keon Coleman and Brian Thomas, that one could go either way. Kyron and ETN rest of the season, that one can go anyway. I think it comes down to Deontay Johnson and Braylon Allen. As much as I love Allen, he is a part-time player, and Deontay Johnson's a freaking target machine. With no Adam Thielen, I think he gets even more action there if Leggett can't step up. So, I mean, overall, I like Rio's side of this, although it's difficult to put any kind of faith into the Jaguars. But they got to get their act together, man. There's no way that they can be that terrible rest of the season. It's got to go up, right?
It'll go up once.
How much higher?
Yeah, once Peterson's fired,
right?
Which should be very soon.
Scott, I know you guys watched the game. You guys saw how open Brian Thomas was when Lawrence overthrew him.
Yeah, he was missing almost as bad as they are.
Yeah, he catches that ball, and he's got a pretty good PPR week. I think he's got better games on the horizon. So I like.
I do think that Buffalo's receivers are getting a little bit of a short end of the stick right now because they just have not been required to do much. Like they've been ahead so early in these games that they've been turned into the running game and kind of just playing the ground and pound style of football by the second half. So when Buffalo actually has to compete for a full game, you don't know what these receivers.
Baltimore this week.
Yeah, this is the first week that I think we could potentially be in that scenario. So, I'm excited about the game. I'm nervous. I got that nervous excitement going on.
Coleman was in there for just a limited amount of time, and that touchdown catch that he caught. I mean, that was a highlight reel catch, man. That was phenomenal,
dude. I mean, that was his first route of the game.
What was it? It was like a freaking 5-10 yard slant, right? And he took it to the house.
No, I think it was a slant or a fade? I thought it was.
I think it was like a longer, like a fade route.
Yeah, I thought it was a fade route to the end zone, basically. Like he was.
I'll see it again. I thought he came across the field
and let him run under it.
Yeah, I thought he came across the field, but yeah, that was a nice catch and run there. I mean, he's got it in his skill set, and if they need him, if he shows, then I think this could be a tremendous young stud in the NFL.
I'm excited to see Buffalo get into a shootout. You shouldn't say that as a fan, right? You want to see him like just kick everybody's ass like they've been doing, but I want to see this offense be forced to do something, because I don't want it to wait till the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. And their defense looks great, man. And they don't even have Matt Milano in there. It's pretty
or Terrell Bernard or Teron Johnson. Like, I mean, we're missing a lot of guys, dude. A lot.
All right, cool. All right, well, let's get to let's finish off the show with some start sits.
All right. Do we have any questions in the queue?
We should have some. We should have them on board or something. Screen share.
I have a start sit for you guys. What do you do right now with the Walker Charbonnet scenario?
I play Walker if he plays.
Do you think so? Do you think that he'll get enough carries if he plays? Like, do you think it won't be like a 50-50 situation?
It's going to get closer to that. Charbonnet's shown he can, put that work in. I think they're going to kind of lean on him a little more to keep Walker healthy.
Well, I think this is going to be kind of like a shootout because it's always been a shootout, this Seattle-Detroit games. So the shootout favors Charbonnet a little bit because he's a better pass catcher. At least they use him in that scenario more than they do Walker. But I still think both backs are going to be heavily used because the Seattle's game plan is going to be to keep the ball out of the Detroit offense's hands and kind of control the clock and win an ugly game.
I feel you. How about to start sit with Anthony Richardson?
Anthony Richardson and who?
Let's see here. Derek Carr.
I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to. I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to go to the matchup tool on the ballsvillegame.com.
That's a good choice, Scott. That is a good choice.
I can't think. I mean, that's not a very easy answer. So I'll go to the. So you said it was Richardson or Carr. So we'll go to A Rich and see what his matchup is. So we'll go. Let's see. Indy has the worst matchup against the Pittsburgh defense, number 32. So I don't even have to look at the other one. You just don't play Richardson.
You just don't play Richardson.
Oh, it's been rough, dude. I have him in one league, and it's been so rough.
He's not throwing any touchdowns. That's the problem. He's not. He's so inaccurate. It's not good.
He had a late touchdown in week 2 that bailed him out. He had like 5 fantasy points up until that point, and then I think he finished with like 6 or 7 last week. It's been terrible.
Okay.
All right.
So I got some for you guys. Mayfield or Darnold?
Oh, okay. So we can't pull. Okay, Mayfield or Darnold. Who asked that question? Do you have anything?
That was by K Doggy the Dog.
K Doggy the Dog. So Mayfield or Darnold, eh? So what do you think? What do you think, Alex?
Oh man, Darnold versus Green Bay. We talked about that earlier. I think that they're going to highlight Aaron Jones in that match. If Jordan Love doesn't play, I think it's going to be a Minnesota victory by far. I don't think Darnold's going to be asked to do much. And then on the other hand, you have Baker. He's at home, right, against Philly?
He's at home against Philly, yep.
Yeah, so Baker at home. I mean, coming out of a down week last week, I think that Baker's gonna put in work against Philly. It's hard to say because Philly might not have its receivers. You know, I mean, all they're gonna have is Barkley, and if they can't score and put up points in Tampa, they're not gonna need Baker either.
And man, Alex, I love you, brother. I have to totally disagree with you. I'm going with Sam Darnold, brother. Sam Darnold is going to rip up that Green Bay secondary.
Well, he better do it like in the first quarter because they're going to run away with it if there's no Jordan Love.
Well, supposedly Jordan is questionable, so we don't know.
I think Jordan Love plays. One, because I think he's healthy enough to play, and two, it's a divisional game, so these divisional games are very important. The matchup tool basically has them kind of even, but how can you go against the guy who does not see ghosts anymore? He is officially
until he goes back to New York next week.
Yeah, he's officially
right?
He's officially been unlocked. The Sam Darnold experience has now been unlocked, and Kevin O'Connell is the new quarterback whisperer.
I agree with the Kevin O'Connell part of that. I don't know about the other part, but the Kevin O'Connell, absolutely. All right, we got another K-Doggity Dog. K-Doggity Dog. He says, DeMarcus Robinson or Ladd McConkey?
So Ladd McConkey's going to be
without. He's not taking it easy on us.
No, well, he's not going to be without his quarterback this week. So, I think you just got to totally fade that whole offense, except maybe Dobbins. I don't think I'm going after it. I'm not going to invest anything in any of the receivers, and for the Chargers.
Oh man,
I think I go option C.
Playing in Chicago.
Other. I go option C. Other.
Yeah, that's a rough one, dude.
I think I'm just gonna, even though I don't like the matchup, like I said, what are you gonna look at? Easton Stick, a quarterback, right. Against a very fiery Kansas City defense, who's one of the most.
Not only is their defense great, but their offense is going to have the ball for a majority of that game. So how much work is McConkey really going to be getting?
Yeah, I think you just go with Robinson. He is the number one in that offense right now. So you almost got to. Oh my God, JoJo's finally made an arrival when the show is about ending.
Yeah, I've been trying, Joey. Nobody wants him.
We got one more for you guys. This is submitted by our very own Alex Hernandez.
Oh my God, Alex has a start set.
He does.
Yeah, I wanted to throw one in there.
Najee Harris or Ramondre Stevenson.
All right, I think I answered that in Discord earlier. With Warren's out, he's officially out this week, and Pittsburgh is going to Indy, who has one of the worst run defenses in the league. He's number 7 on my matchup tool. Fire up, Tide, roll Tide with Najee Harris.
Najee, yeah, that's what I was gonna do anyways. But Ramondre, you guys think he has a bounce back, or you think he just got exposed last week? I mean, that whole offense got shut down.
I think for Ramondre to be successful, they got to have some sort of a passing game, because they're just going to put everybody in the box and just be like, okay, keep running the ball at us.
Yeah,
I think what opens up Ramondre the most is when they put Drake May in.
Yes, please. I have so much Drake May.
Honestly, and I think that if they come out and they lay an egg this week, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not next week.
I mean, they have a implied team total of like 14 points.
Yeah, that's rough. I saw that too.
That's so bad.
That's nasty. I heard it was like one of the all-time lows.
It's so bad. San Francisco's favored by 10. 10. Anything double digits in the NFL is very bad. It's like almost screaming, take the point.
Especially a team that's not flying high. I mean, the Niners are not looking like the studs they were.
Oh, it's been rough. I'm a Niner fan. You guys know that. It's been pretty rough to watch, especially that Rams comeback. Like, how do you let that happen? Oy.
Wait, you're a Niners fan? I had no idea.
No, I am.
I'm being sarcastic.
Throw the jerseys on.
All right.
A little bit, bro. Had to tease.
Do we have any other start sits? Anything else, or are we?
No, sir. I think we are good to go.
All right. Well, like I said, to all you gamers, go to the ballsville.com website for all your fantasy needs.
Especially your comparison tools, because they are amazing.
Yes, the tools are amazing. JoJo's and I put together the DFS tool that's been rocking. We've had gamers come back to us and said they're winning money with our tools. So they're free this year. So get on them, start using them, because they're very, very helpful for your fantasy needs. So for my producer, Sarah, M21, for El Presidente, Westlex, Alex Hernandez, and to my co-host, S. Clem, Bills Mafia, Sean Clemens. Until next Tuesday, folks, have a great weekend of fantasy football.